Okay, so here's the thing we're not considering.
Okay.
We're always like, Selena can't be the best assassin. What if all the other assassins legitimately suck? But you don't want them to hear my sweet beats.
Well, I thought you were the one concerned about what the intro heard.
Making love to the sweet beats of Eminent.
Nah. Alright, we're on to chapter 12. After the disappointing reminder of chapter 11's ending. The mask was held in a riverfront estate along the Avery.
The mask?
The ball.
Oh, like a masquerade, okay.
Yeah.
What did you call it?
The mask. M-A-S-Q-U-E.
Okay.
That's how you spell mask. And was so packed that Selena had no trouble slipping in with Archer. Why would she ever have trouble? She's been invited. Philippa had...
She always has to have trouble. And why does Philippa like her so much that she's doing all this BS for her anyway?
I don't know.
We may never know. We may never know.
Philippa had managed to find her a delicate white dress made of layers of chiffon and silk patterned like overlapping feathers. A matching mask obscured the upper half of her face, and ivory feathers and pearls had been woven into her hair.
Wow.
So glad we just got that all described to us. It was fortunate it was a masquerade and not a normal party, since she certainly recognized... Girl, the microphone picked up on that so good.
Stop moving the microphone. I've just noticed that I have a... Perfect, okay.
Apologies for the microphone noises. Someone had to go and reach underneath the stack of random stuff holding up the microphone.
What can I say? I noticed that there was stuff underneath there when it got... what can I say? I noticed there was stuff underneath there and it got my attention. The problem is I got these out to use with my paint pins, but the paint pins totally make noise, so I don't think I can use them doing the recording.
Alas. She recognized a few faces in the crowd. They were mostly other courtesans she'd once known. Why'd she know so many courtesans?
I don't know, do all of the courtesans go to the Assassin's Keep?
Maybe. Hey, maybe it comes with the tuition.
Comes with the tuition. One of our benefits is...
Of the tuition that I'm giving you a loan for to go to my school.
Oh, that's...
That tuition.
I thought I was going to say that one of the benefits to coming to my school alone for assassinating is that it doubles as the school where the courtesans learn the courtesaning. So it's a very efficient system. 2 boards, 1 school, you know?
Along with Madame Carisse. During the carriage ride here, Archer had promised that Arboin Hamel wasn't attending, and neither was Lysandra, a courtesan with whom Selena had a long, violent history, and someone she was fairly certain she'd kill if she ever saw again.
God forbid women ever get along.
God forbid.
Maybe they had a violent history because they had a very violent breakup.
Oh my gosh.
Bitter.
Are those kinds of bisexual lesbians?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
As it was, just seeing Clarissa floating through the party, arranging liaisons between her courtesans and the guests, was enough to set Selena on edge. Clarissa?
Wait.
Peaches?
I thought that was the woman that...
Clarissa, yeah, it's her party.
Oh, okay.
She's hosting the party.
Of course she is. How convenient for the plot.
How convenient. While she had come as a swan, Archer had dressed as a wolf. His tunic pewter, his slender pants dove gray, and his boots shining black.
Man, wait, finish the description and then I'll air my grievance.
Okay, I've got one more sentence.
Okay.
It's a long one, though. His wolf mask covered all but his sensual lips, which were currently parted in a rather wolfish smile as he squeezed the hand she had on his arm.
That's the sentence?
Yeah.
That wasn't too bad. All these women get to have all those fancy diamonds in their hair and feathers. Why can't the men get us dressed up too?
Instead of wearing
gray pants.
Pewter
pants.
tunic.
Pewter tunic. Dove
gray
pants. Why can't everyone get fancy, you know?
Literally.
Have you not seen...
Where's the fake fur?
Where's the fall? Where's the brocade? Have you not seen some of the waistcoats that were made back in the day, 1700s?
The day when this is supposedly taking place based on previous things that we read about?
Just saying. Another unimportant thing for me to decide to get annoyed about, but, like, let the men be pretty every once in a while, please, and thank you. You're a local bisexual. Anyway.
I'm not physically beautiful.
Well, yeah, I mean souped up.
Yeah.
I mean, like...
Let them get souped up.
Let them put on that little outfit and be like, I'll be the prettiest boy at the party. I'm gonna be the prettiest boy at the party, you know?
Mm-hmm. Not the greatest party we've ever been to, he said, but Davis has the best pantry shelf in Rifthold. Indeed, throughout the room, tables were overflowing with the most beautiful, decadent-looking pastries she'd ever seen. She couldn't wait to hork them all down.
Man.
Dang, I couldn't even keep myself composed through that lie.
Oh.
Most beautiful, decadent pastries she'd ever seen. Pastries stuffed with cream, cookies dusted with sugar, and chocolate. Oh my gosh, again, repetition. Beckoning to her everywhere. Perhaps she'd swipe a few before she left. Why don't you just, eat some while you're there?
Literally.
Because she'd never fit in her dress then.
Maybe.
It was an effort to return her gaze to Archer. How long has he been your client?
Like, again, there could be great potential to giving her some sort of disordered eating. But
I'm not seeing it.
We're not seeing it.
And Maas hasn't built up the rapport and trust required for me to be like, oh, wait.
All right, yeah.
It's building up slowly. We'll see it.
I can definitely see how, like, that's something that the fandom would be like, ooh, we have this in the book, we're going to really run with it. But we ain't the fandom. What can I say?
We ain't the fandom. We the text readers.
Derogatory.
That wolfish smile flickered. A few years now, which is how I noticed the change in his behavior. His voice dropped to a whisper, the words tickling her ear as he leaned in. He's more paranoid, eats less, and holes up in his office any chance he gets.
Auburn?
No, Davis, who's, I guess, co-throwing the party with Clarisse.
Okay.
At the end of the doomed ballroom would have been good. Massive windows faced a patio overlooking I definitely thought it said piano. A patio overlooking a glittering stretch of the Avery. She could imagine those doors thrown wide in summer, and how lovely it would be to dance along the riverbank under the stars and city lights. I have terrible news. So based on the rough time frame at which this book could theoretically be set, that river
is reeking.
Should be disgusting. We already know they don't have true plumbing, and even if they did, at the time period, it would probably just be like spewing untreated sewage into the river. Just saying. Is this house like upriver of the city? I would like to know.
This is... Well, assuming it's like a river that runs to... Well, all rivers run to the sea, more or less.
No, it terminates in the salt mines.
I think... I'm not sure exactly where Rifthold is, but I wouldn't be surprised if it is, because it is right by the sea. The river might spread out into deltas after Rifthold.
I'm looking on the map. Hold on, everyone. Avery River, Rifthold. No, they're right by the ocean.
So it's probably before the city. I mean,
like the city is like in like the corner between the river and the ocean.
Oh, so it could be either way.
Yeah, I don't think they'd pump all of their sewage to the ocean.
I think they would
via the river.
Oh wait, what do you mean? Well, let me see the map. Because it seems like they should just be able to dump it in now.
Yeah, where was it? It's right there.
Ow.
I don't know. I just feel like it's probably
if
not a good
they're
river.
not pumping it into the river, then the river might be cleaner.
It could be. You're right. It could be. They might just be putting it into the ocean.
The house pumps into the river downwind.
The lovely river, thrown wide in summer, and how lovely it would look, stars and city lights. I have about 5 minutes before I need to make my rounds. Archer said, his eyes following Carisse as she patrolled the room. She'll expect an auction for me on a night like this.
Whatever. I guess when you're so popular, you can be auctioned off. Whatever. Listen, if this was a fan fiction, I think I would be into it. Like this situation, I'd be like, yes, sell that elf. Anyways, I'll let it happen. Let's keep going.
Selena's stomach turned over, and she found herself reaching for his hand, but he just gave her a bemused smile. Just a few more weeks, right? There was still enough bitterness that she squeezed his fingers reassuringly. Right, she swore. Archer jerked his chin toward a stocky, middle-aged man holding court with a group of well-dressed people. That's Davis, he said under his breath. I haven't seen much during my visits, but I think he might be a key leader in this group. You're assuming that based on glimpsing some papers in the house? Archer slid his hand into his pockets. One night, about 2 months ago, I was here when 3 of his friends came over. All of them clients of mine, too. It was urgent, they said, and when Davis slipped out of the bedroom... Ellipsis. There's a part of me that goes, no, I can't interrupt Archer to say the punctuation that we're calling out. Just let him speak.
Let my man speak.
Let him emote.
It's... For everyone else, it's over punctuation. For Archer, it's emoting. Yeah. He's an actor.
She gave him a half smile. You somehow accidentally overheard everything? Archer smiled back, but it faded as he again looked at Davis, who was pouring wine for the people assembled around him, including some young woman who looked a year or two shy of 16. Selena's own smile vanished as well. This was a side of Rifthold that she hadn't missed in the least. I was about to say, it's probably literally every city you've ever been to, and then I was like, well, she was in the salt mines. I guess it wasn't in Indovir, probably.
We should hope, at least.
We should hope.
I'm sure part of the propaganda for Indovir was like, we are actually taking these wild enemies of the state, and we're making them better by making sure they have a very virtuous working conditions. We're improving them by sending them to Indoville. It's for their own betterment. And for our wallets.
For our enrichment.
Their betterment and our enrichment.
They spent more time ranting about the king than making plans. And regardless of what they might claim, I don't think they truly care about Aelin Galathinius. I think they just want to find a ruler who best serves their interests.
Can you blame them?
No, I really can't. And maybe they only want her to raise an army so their businesses can thrive during the war that would ensue. If they aid her, give her badly needed supplies, then she'll owe them. I totally skipped M-dashes and ellipses in there.
For Archer's sake?
Yeah, I did.
Man, this is the first way we start slipping.
You're right. I will hold myself to a higher accountability. Then she'll owe them. They want a puppet queen, not a true ruler. Of course, M-dash. Of course they wanted something like that. Wow, Selena, you've made that assumption very quickly. You're very good at making assumptions.
Yeah, this is like... what's his name's guess, and you're like, oh, this is exactly what's going on, huh?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Are they even from Terrasen? No. Davis's family was years ago, but he's spent his whole life in Rifthold. If he claims loyalty to Terrasen, it's only a half-truth. She ground her teeth. Self-serving bastards. I don't know, Selena, aren't you also quite self-serving?
Hey, maybe game respects game.
I don't think she's respecting them.
I don't think so either. But maybe.
Archer shrugged. That may be true, but they've also rescued a good number of would-be victims from the king's gallows, apparently. The night his friends burst into the house, it was because they'd managed to save one of their informants from being interrogated by the king. They smuggled him out of Rifthold before dawn broke the next day. Did Kael know about this? Given how he'd reacted to killing Cain, she didn't think torturing and hanging traitors were a part of his duties, M-dash, or were even mentioned to him. Or Dorian, for that matter.
How are you supposed to have a functional city if you keep so many people in the dock? Again, it could all be a facade for Kael and stuff like we've discussed, but why can't, I think it's possible to have someone who's supposed to be a love interest and everything and be like, hey, this is their job. They'll kind of in on some messed up stuff, right? And that could add some more layers to the relationship dynamics.
Yeah, but if he was in on that messed up stuff, I would so need him to not be losing his mind about having killed.
No, that's so
Cain.
true. That's so true.
I mean, I already would like it if it, was addressed differently. We'll see if it comes up again. We'll see how it's handled.
We'll see how it goes. Saying just another thing with, I bring that up and saying how it seems like Maas likes how baddie's bad and how goodie's good, more or less. Mm-hmm. And I just don't find that very compelling.
Yeah, good in the narrative.
Good in the narrative. Sometimes I'm fine with that, depending on the book. But with this book, I would like it to be a little more. I'd like it to not be so straightforward. God damn it.
Yeah. But if Kael wasn't in charge of interrogating possible traitors, then who was? Was this person...
Kael is captain of the guard, Selena. Why would he be in charge of interrogating people?
I think she has no idea what a captain of the guard does. She's never really asked him, I think. Only teased him.
I'm sitting over here. I am getting irate over this. My tolerance has been obliterated. Okay,
was this person the source who had given the king his latest list of traitors to the crown? I don't know, Selena. What do you think? Do you think the king might be getting his list of traitors from the people he's torturing to get a list of traitors from?
We may never know.
Oh, there were too many things to consider. Too many secrets and tangled webs.
There's like 3.
There's like 3. Also, why are you not jumping to conclusions and making rash assumptions here, like you did a paragraph ago?
Because she was rash. She's
got a rash in the. She's got a rash in the rashness.
Yeah.
Rash in the irrationality. Selena asked, "Do you think you can get me into Davis's office right now? I want to look around." Archer smirked. "My darling, why do you think I brought you over here?" He smoothly led her to a nearby side door, a servant's entrance. No one noticed as they slipped through, and if they had, Archer's hands roaming over her bodice, her arms, her shoulders, her neck, would suggest that they were going through the door for some privacy. A seductive smile on his face, Archer tugged her down the small hallway, then up the stairs, always taking care to keep his hands moving on her lest anyone see them. But all the servants were preoccupied, and all the upstairs hall was clear and quiet.
So there's no stakes at all?
Yep. Its wood-paneled walls and red carpets immaculate. Okay, let's throw out another guess here. We do know that in the last book, there's like no stakes for anything that's supposed to be dramatic, right? Mm-hmm. Not for any of the games, not for anything she did. Do you think there will be stakes and any like danger in what's about to happen?
In what's about to happen, I think they're going to get chased. But I don't think we'll be like, oh my goodness, Mm-hmm. But I think there will be a chase involved somewhere.
Can Archer even run? He's so masculine.
He ran masculinely. His masculineness wiggled as he mailed through the room. Selena, run! By the way, what's his madam's name? Cassandra?
Clarisse?
By the way, Clarisse, he shouted masculinely, I'm bankrupt! Legally.
Legally. Chapter 7.
Chapter 7, Lee. What is chapter 7?
I don't know.
Oh, chapter 7 of Law. I thought you meant chapter 7 of the book.
Chapter 7 of the Bankruptcy Code, yeah. There's also chapter 13, chapter 11, all kinds of chapters. Chapter 1, I guess. But that's probably just definitions. Anyways. Upstairs hall was clear and quiet, its wood-paneled walls and red carpeting immaculate. I was almost like, didn't it just say there was red carpeting? And I was like, no, it's because I just read that sentence. The paintings here, M-, several from artists she recognized, M-, were worth a small fortune. Archer moved with a stealth.
Hey, at least those artists are getting their bank, hopefully.
Hopefully. Well, they're only worth a fortune because someone bought them, actually.
Damn.
Actually, they're probably worth a fortune because someone's involved in money fraud.
Oh, yeah, please.
Via the fine arts.
I'd be into that.
Wouldn't that be great? Archer moved with a stealth that probably came from years of slipping in and out of bedrooms. He led her to a set of locked double doors.
Renders him down just to his profession. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Did it have nothing to do with going to assassin school? Which, I mean, was also related to his profession.
Why did he even go to assassin school?
Because he was becoming popular enough that he wanted to know more about, like, protecting himself or something along those lines. They said it earlier.
Don't they have a martial arts class in the top of the mall or something?
A martial arts class?
No, a martial arts class in, like, the top level of the mall.
Yeah, he went to it already. This is why he's so in debt. He kept going to different classes on Clarisse's dime.
20% interest rate will kill you.
It will. Before she could pull, compounded continuously. Before she could pull one of Philippa's pins from her hair to unlock it, a pick appeared in Archer's hand. He gave her a conspirator's grin. A heartbeat after that, the office door swung open, revealing a room lined with bookshelves over an ornate blue carpet. A red carpet? A blue carpet? Make up your mind.
No, you can't when you're rich.
You know what?
You don't have to.
You don't have to when you're rich.
But that's a false law about being rich.
Literally,
don't you know
what? Have all the carpet you want.
Oh.
No vacuums, but have all the carpet you want.
Oh, he's not rich enough because they did all the carpet in red and they were like, shoot, we don't have enough. And instead of being like, let's just commission more carpet, that was too expensive. Whoever this guy is, I don't even remember his name. He's like, I like blue.
Davis
was like, I like blue.
With potted ferns scattered throughout, a large desk sat in the center, 2 armchairs before it, and a chaise sprawled near a darkened fireplace.
Ooh.
The chaise long. Selena paused in the doorway, pressing her bodice just to feel the slender dagger tucked inside. How's she gonna reach that dagger? She's gonna be like reach down between her cleavage.
I thought the whole point of, like, the hell knives is so that she wouldn't have to... well, that was a knife between her breasts, specifically.
Well, isn't it her bodice? Where's a bodice?
Bodice is, like, the top half.
Yeah, so
it could be
under
on
her
her
bodice.
sides, it could be under her breasts, I guess, but, like, bodice is up here, and it goes on to your back and stuff.
Okay. Tucked inside, she brushed her legs together, checking the 2 daggers strapped to her thighs. Really, girl? Why do you gotta check them? You came all the way in here before checking? Also, you didn't know you had them?
This is just to remind the audience of what she has, because we forgot since last chapter.
You're right. This is another repetition. We already knew she kept weapons in certain locations.
I think it's probably doing it to remind us that they're there so that when she has to pull it out dramatically, people want to be like, wait, where did this come from? Because it was last chapter. That's why I think it was that way.
I get that you might want to repeat that potentially, but I think she probably should have done it before going into the really dangerous part.
Yeah.
You know, like, she's here now. No going back. I should go downstairs, Archer said, glancing at the hallway.
I love him so much. When I call him coward, please know that I mean it affectionately.
Yeah. He's an affectionate coward.
I'm affectionately calling him a coward. It's like, he doesn't want to get caught up in this mess. He doesn't want to get caught up in this mess, and I don't blame him.
Neither do I. Into the hall behind them, the sound of a waltz floated up from the ballroom. Try to be quick. She raised an eyebrow, even though the mask covered her features. Are you telling me how to do my job?
She's so annoying.
I am trying.
To make her annoying?
Yes.
Oh, okay. It's succeeding.
It's working.
Don't say it
But
didn't
no,
work.
her simply saying, are you trying to tell me how to do my job? Yeah, that's annoying. She's a very insecure person.
She is.
He leaned in, brushing his lips against her
I mean,
neck.
if I was 18 and everyone called me the greatest assassin of Otterland and I all knew it's because the rest of the crop sucks, I'd be insecure too, I suppose.
I wouldn't.
But they just wouldn't write a book about me.
Nah. I wouldn't dream of it. He said onto her skin. He keeps speaking onto her skin. That happened in the last couple chapters too.
What did he say?
I wouldn't dream of it.
Whoa! Hold on. There we
I
go.
didn't say he was giving her a raspberry at the same time.
Well,
He's just speaking it onto her skin.
Okay. Then I'll do it again, same hand and everything. This is just with a lot less force, because I was really pressing the last time. I wouldn't dream of it. Not very romantic. That's all I can.
I wouldn't dream of it. It's more about getting the breath right there. You don't have to be like putting your mouth.
So they can, so he can fog up whole skin.
Yeah. It's porcelain after all.
It is.
Her white pale skin, I'm sure. I'm sure it said that in the first book. Then he turned and was gone. Selena quickly shut the door, then strode to the windows at the other side of the room and closed the curtains. The dim light shining beneath the door was enough to see by as she moved to the ironwood desk and lit a candle.
Ironwood.
Apparently
wow.
it wasn't enough to see by because you lit a candle. Is actually only enough for navigation.
Man.
So where'd you get the matches to light the candle?
Being generous, I'm sure that candle gets lit often.
So they just keep
matches
right by it
or something like that.
Being generous, okay.
Especially like if he walks in his office so much, maybe like his servants doesn't come in to like take care of the candle business. So he has to do it himself.
Okay. Is this what you wish to use your generosity points on this session?
Yes.
Okay. The evening papers, a stack of response cards from tonight's mask, a personal expense ledger, ellipsis. Normal. Completely normal. She searched... Wow, was she expecting him to have all his secret plans out in the open? She searched
I'm pretty
the
sure
desk.
last chapter it was called a ball.
Yeah.
And now they're just calling it a mask. Did Maas not decide what event it was going to be when she wrote the previous chapter?
I'm going back to check on this.
You know, I know functionally with as much detail as Maas provides, they're the same thing. But they're not the same thing. A ball and a masquerade are not the same thing, and she's definitely called it a masquerade. Well, a mask.
Archer did refer to it as a ball. I mean, maybe he didn't know, but then how did she know? He sent the details along to her. Maybe that's when they found out. But again, it's an inconsistency.
It seems like if you have to have a whole outfit and a mask and everything, unless Archer like has a set ready to go.
Oh, believe me,
I'm sure he does.
They come in quite useful.
He has an outfit. He has a costume for every occasion.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm just being
all I'm going to
uncharitable
say is that
as
some of his
usual.
clients has seen this one in bed.
Good, you know what? Good for them. Good for them. Eey.
She searched the rest of the desk, rifling through the drawers and knocking on every surface to check for trick compartments. When that yielded nothing, she walked to one of the bookcases, tapped the books to see whether they were hollowed out.
That's turns out Davis keeps all of his sensitive stuff in a false office somewhere else.
No, she's actually in the false office.
Oh, the decoy office. The Doffus.
The Doffus.
It would never be as cool as that.
Perhaps not. Yeah, given what I just saw, yeah. When that yielded nothing, hollowed out. She was about to turn away when a title caught her eye. A single book A book with a single weird mark written on the spine in blood red ink. Wow.
Listen, if I was a part of some coalition, I wouldn't use something that, like, stood out from my secret level. I would just remember that my
Did you call it a secret lever?
Yeah, that's what I think it's going to be.
What do you think it's going to be?
If I would just I would just know that my 56th copy of the Bible was the one to tug on. Anyway. Keep going.
She pulled it out and rushed to the desk.
Oh, it's not even a lever.
It's not a lever.
Yeah, okay, well, at least that's that.
You were wrong.
I was wrong.
I was wrong with my spitballing. Setting down the candle as she opened the book. It was full of weird marks, every page covered in them, and with words in a language she didn't recognize. I'm gonna say that's probably not hard. Nehemia had said it was secret knowledge, that the weird marks were so old they'd been forgotten for centuries, except, conveniently, by Nehemia's family. Perhaps, Selena, other people know what they are, too.
I don't know if we can read 2 chapters tonight. That's all
We don't have to read 2 chapters tonight, girl. We don't have to. You're not that guy.
I'm not that guy tonight.
Crown of Midnight, you're not that guy. Titles like this had been burned with the rest of the books on magic. She had found one in the palace library.
Why would you have your contraband book available for any... Like, what if you do get raided by the king and they see that book?
Yeah.
No one cares about the 56th copy of your Holy Bible.
Yeah.
Just saying.
The Walking Dead, but that had been a fluke. Yeah, that's the one weird book she saw in the palace library. But that had been a fluke.
I'm sure this is like a Chekhov's gun situation with The Walking Dead. But I'm going to be disappointed even when it is used.
Yeah. Because she went and named it The Walking Dead. Which is just like, a name like that, the book should be here for kicks and giggles. Okay? Okay, yeah. All right, thanks.
The Walking Dead? Yeah, this is talking about...
Yeah, I'm sure it'll come back.
This is a word mark about how to control ants to remove small dead pests from your house.
That'd be pretty good.
So look at it, yeah, like you don't want to touch that dead mouse. I completely understand. Here's to summon 16,000 ants to move it for you.
I have to admit. We've called out how some things seemed like really useless, like certain chapters was like, why was this here? It meant nothing. And then the other people in our group are like, oh, you'll see that Maas always brings everything back relevant.
Maas never writes anything for nothing.
Yeah, and like it comes back up later. And seeing The Walking Dead show up again, I'm like, can we just let stuff stay in the past, please? Like, I don't actually need everything to like mean something and come back. Like, you know what? Just give us some kicks and giggles. And then leave it there. Thank you.
That's what we would feel about the whole book, though. We read 2 chapters and you're like, okay, it's all in the past. Let's end the book now.
Literally. Yeah. Okay, so The Walking Dead made a reappearance, but that had been a fluke. Of course. The art of using the word marks was lost. Only Nehemia's family knew how to properly use their power.
Only? Man, you just found out about
this because Nehemia said that her family knows it. So clearly, only Nehemia's family knows it. Wow. Oh, we're also well over 30 minutes. This might be a good time to end so it's not a super long file. Unless... I guess we could do another super long one. What's your thoughts?
Oh, I don't mind them being long. Okay. It's fine. Like, I don't really have a huge opinion.
All right, we'll just keep going. It just makes it a little more hassle for me.
Well, then we can stop now.
End, but we're going to keep going. But here in her hands, ellipse, she flipped through the book. Someone had written a sentence on the inside of the back cover, and Selena brought the candle closer as she peered at what had been scribbled. It was a riddle, or some strange turn of phrase. One of us speaks in riddles, the other one speaks in rhymes. It is only with the eye that one can see rightly.
It's the eye of Elena, not the eye they're speaking of.
I was going to say, it's not really much of a riddle. And you're out here going, I've got it already. I have the answer.
I've cracked the code.
I've cracked the code. I know exactly what to do. But what in hell did it mean? And what was Davis?
We have hell?
Yeah, apparently.
Like, so is Christianity?
OMG.
Like they said hell
I think it's that, it's really hard to create a fantasy world that doesn't use, the same words of us, because then we couldn't read it unless you're Sir Terry Pratchett, which has his own explanations for everything.
Hey,
I'll still allow it to use the same things.
The only thing I know about Sir Terry Pratchett, I'm assuming you're talking about Discworld.
Yeah, I don't know which
The
one.
only thing I know about that is Happy Hogswog or something like that. All I know is people always start talking about it around Christmas time, so I think it's the Christmas of that. Hogswog? Hogs something.
As long as it's not called Yulmus.
And I really would love to know if Discworld was actually shaped like a disc, like a CD disc, so there's a hole in the, like it's a flat, and there's a hole in the middle. I guess it could be a disc and it'd just be like, a flat circle.
Like a puck.
Like a puck.
Puck world just didn't sound as good.
Disco. Please give them a hole in the middle of the wall. Please. Please.
Mm-hmm. And what was Davis, some half-corrupt businessman doing... And what was Davis, some half-corrupt businessman, doing with a book on weird marks, of all things? If he was trying to interfere with the king's plans, for the sake of Aurelia, she prayed the king never even heard of weird marks.
Man,
What? I thought you said magic only disappeared, 10 years ago.
Yeah, so it seems like he should know about it. It's in his own library.
Yeah. You're being very wishful with your desires, Selena, second Elena.
Let's just say it was easier for Christ to carry the cross. That's all I can say.
Than for you to read this book?
Yes. And to be civil about it.
She memorized the riddle. Not much of a riddle, not much of a rhyme. She would write it down when she returned to the castle.
One of us don't speak in riddles, the other one doesn't speak in rhymes. Look through the eye, and all things will be revealed to you in time.
Dang, sometimes I go, we need video to see those little expressions. But then we'd have to have a filming spot, and I'm not... No.
What, is my bed and my desk not good enough for you?
It'd be up to you.
It's not good enough for me either, don't worry about it.
She would write it down when she returned to the castle, maybe ask Nehemia if she knew what it meant. Or if she'd heard of Davis.
It's the Eye of Elena. It's a stupid Eye of Elena. What other eye has there been?
You're probably right.
I'm furious! I'm furious! Oh, you should set things up so the audience can figure out the clues. Not when the clues are stupid and as obvious as this one is.
Yeah.
I'm just mad that it's connected. I'm mad that it's connected.
Well, it's only upsetting because it's so it appears to be obvious. Who knows?
Okay, maybe wrong. Maybe there's some other eye.
But Selena just doesn't have any thoughts on it. She's just like, oh dang, this is so hard. Guess I'll ask Nehemia.
I'll memorize it and go from that one.
Guess I'll ask Nehemia, who is my magical minority.
Yummy.
I'm glad I remembered magical minority. All I could think of was the first thing, and I was like, I'm not sure if I can say that if it's not actually discussing the
and
trope.
Really back it up.
Yeah. Anyways, magical minority. Feel free to go find a video on that. Mm-hmm. Da-da-da. Or if she'd heard of Davis, Archer might give her vital information, but he obviously didn't know everything.
I don't know, it seems like he's known lots so far. I think you should ask him.
Yeah, maybe he knows. Fortunes had been broken upon the loss of magic. People had made their lives for years by harnessing its power to make lace very quickly and very cheaply. Because we all know lace making, very little energy, just tedious.
I mean, are they wrong?
They're not wrong.
How much energy does it take you to tat?
Dang, if I tatted as my sole form of exercise, I'd die.
Yeah, but your fingers and wrists would be swollen though. They'd be huge. Your forearms?
Oh, can I even get through the joke? They'd be... It's not even that funny.
Say the joke.
They'd be swole with carpal tunnel.
You're right, that wasn't that funny, but... They'd be swollen as a carpal tunnel during a flood. Mm-hmm. A carpool tunnel?
Harnessing its power, were suddenly left with nothing. It seemed natural for them to seek out another source of power, even though the king had outlawed it. But what? M-dash. Footsteps sounded down the hall. Selena swiftly put the book back on the shelf, then looked to the window. Her dress was too big and the window too small and high for her to easily make it out that way. And with no other exit.
Another piece of useless, unneeded repetition. The dress was too big and the window was too small.
Yeah.
She could say the dress was too big and the window was too high up. I would have been fine with that. Or the window was too small and too high.
But too small and too high and the dress too big? You gonna say the dress too big and too short?
That was a different book I was thinking of.
And there was no other exits, ellipsis. The lock in the double doors clicked. Did it ever mention that she locked the door behind her? Or is it a self-locking door? Maybe when you pick a lock, it just opens while you got the pick in there. I don't know. I don't pick locks.
Us complaining about Maas, like just saying everything directly to us. Us when Maas doesn't say something happens. Did Maas say that happened?
Well, that's because we've come to expect of something from this author.
And also because it specifically said they unlocked the doors. So
yeah.
It seems like you want to... Potentially, I can see an argument for saying we want to keep them unlocked so we can flee quickly if we have to. And depending on the lock, if someone expects the door to be locked, they could just put the key in and unlock it again. Depending on how complicated the locking mechanism is.
Yes. Selena leaned against the desk, whipping out her handkerchief, bowing her shoulders, and starting a miserable sniffle sob as Davis entered his study. The short, solid man paused at the sight of her, the smile that had been on his face fading. Thankfully, he was alone. She could kill him easily. She popped up, doing her best to look embarrassed.
You know what Selena's... I'm not going to say it, never mind.
You don't even know which sentence I made up.
You made up...
You don't even know which one.
Was it he could kill him easily?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the thing I was about. I was just about to complain about the she could kill him easily comment. And then I decided I wouldn't. But I would have 100% believed that was a sentence in it because that's exactly what happened at the beginning of the first book. I don't know if she's had too many thoughts of like, I could kill him easily in this book so far. But the whole thought about her being like, I could kill all these men without breaking a sweat, even in my degraded condition.
Because I'm dehydrated.
That stuck with me, okay? So I will remember that through the rest of this goddamn series.
Anyways, it didn't say she could kill him easily. That was just me ad-libbing. Oh, she said, dabbing her eyes with her handkerchief through the holes in her mask. Oh, I'm sorry. I needed a place to be alone for a moment. And they said I could come in here. That said was in fact separated by hyphens. It was said. Davis's eyes narrowed, then shifted to the key in the lock.
Please don't let him fall for this. Please don't let Davis fall for this. I'll be so mad if he falls for this.
Then shifted to the key in the lock. How did you get in? A smooth, slippery... Oh, I shouldn't have made it so staccato. How did you get in? A smooth, slippery voice, dripping with calculation, M-dash, and a hint of fear, because her wild, deadly animalness is just always so able to tell by other people.
I actually think he's avophobic. Like, she's just as a swan that gets him nervous, okay?
He's aerophobic.
Like, what if listen, he's already worried about that damn duck watching him. Now there's a swan in his office, and this swan is, like, almost as tall as him. Like, this is concerning, okay? He's stressed. He's already on the brink. That's why, the duck is why he's been more paranoid and spending more time in his office. He can't let it see him.
Gosh, you're so right. You are entirely right. That's why the window is small and high up. So the duck can't see in.
Seems like it would be an easy way for a duck to get in, because ducks can use small windows. So.
It's a stupid duck.
No, it's so he can control which way the duck comes in when it does attack. He's always ready.
He knows the exact
He has
spot.
a crossbow set up aimed at that window.
Sure hope Selena's not in the way.
I, however, do hope she...
And a hint of fear. She let out a shuddering sniffle. The housekeeper. Hopefully, the poor woman wouldn't be flayed alive for this. Selena hitched her voice, stumbling and rushing through the words. My, again, separated by a hyphen. Betrothed left me. Again, those... We're separated by hyphens.
I believe it.
Look, you don't need to tell me that her voice, that she's hitched her voice and she's stumbling and rushing through the words, and then show me that that's what's happening. I can do it. The narrator can do it.
This is true.
Just saying. Again, not something I would be bothered by in fanfic, but I think I'm bothered by it in book. In professionally published work. What is Bloomsberry Publishing doing? Not reining her in. Maybe, what if this is reining her in?
Oh, God.
Her poor editor. The editor is actually just giving up. Honestly, she sometimes wondered if there was something a bit wrong with her for being able to cry so easily. Because once again, tears aren't strength.
No. Well, maybe. But I would think, I'm so good at deceiving people. There's something wicked about me that I'm so naturally good at manipulating them. And that's not a right thing to do.
I think you're more right than me. It could be both, though.
It could be both,
but that feels more right, what you said. Davis took her in again, his lip curling. M-dash. Not out of sympathy, she realized.
Hell yeah.
But from disgust at this silly, weeping woman sniffling about her fiancé, as if it would be a colossal waste of his precious time to comfort a person in pain.
Well, she is in pain.
You're not in pain.
Get off your high horse.
It's not his job to comfort you. It's someone who barged into his...
You're an intruder.
His office. Anyways, so he's going to be such in pain from comforting her. The thought of Archer having to serve these people who looked at him like he was a toy. I mean, it's not been said that anyone has looked at him like he's a toy yet. To be used until he was broken? Ellipsis. She focused on her breathing. She just had to get out of here without raising Davis's suspicion.
Girl, I think they've been raised.
They've been raised. And not in a sexy way.
I'd be concerned if it was in a sexy way. I'll be completely honest.
You're right, my apologies. That joke was not needed. Poor timing on my part.
Well, I wasn't saying that.
One word to the guards down the hall, and she'd be in more trouble than she wanted. Selena,
how much trouble is she allowed, does she want to be in?
Once again, in the first book, she was like, I'm unarmed, but I could kill all these guards and probably get all the way to the wall before they got me. And now she's like, oh, dang, if he calls the guards, I'm toast. I've got 3 daggers, by the way.
Yeah, but in Indoville, she had a pickaxe, so...
Was she carrying the pickaxe with her?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure she kills... Well, no, but I'm pretty sure when she did make a break for it...
Yeah, she
had a pickaxe.
But not when she was thinking about how she could kill all these people and get all the way to the wall.
Yeah, this is true.
According to our recollection.
Yeah.
Nobody fact-check us on that.
Nobody fact-check us on that. We don't care.
She'd be in more trouble than she wanted. Well, I guess wanted is different than needed. M-dash. And might possibly drag Archer down with her. She let out another shudder sniffle. There's a ladies' powder room on the first floor, Davis said, stepping towards her. M-dash to escort her out. Perfect. There was literally no need for that M-dash. Like, that would have ran together just fine as a sentence. Stepping toward her to escort her out.
Oh, the perfect was with the M-dash. It was stepping towards her M-dash.
To escort her out. Stepping toward her. To escort her out.
Stepping toward her. To escort her out.
Like, how do you want me to read that, Maas? How do you want me to interrupt that sentence with the to escort her out? Tell me, Maas. Tell me.
In this month's book club, we're going to have a special guest. Sarah J. Maas is going to show up and tell us exactly how to read that interruption of the sentence.
Yeah, I want to know how to read this specific M-dash. I want to know how to interpret it, since it is a vague punctuation mark, and I can't think of any other punctuation mark that would go there. It's not standing in for a comma. It's not standing in for parentheses. It's not standing in. I'm going to go through everything it's not standing in for. I'm not. I'm moving on. Perfect. As he approached, he pulled off the bird mask he wore, revealing a face.
Damn. Well, he's like Batman in that sense. He dresses as the thing that he feels, so that everyone feels it as much as he does.
Is Batman scared of bats?
Yeah. At least in, like, one of the movie series he is.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Dang, thought you were just making that up. Revealing, well, he's scared of ducks. He's scared of waterfowl.
No, I said border, though. I mean, okay, so he's not as brave. He's not as brave as Batman, okay? he's getting baby steps.
Baby steps.
His therapist said walk up to it.
Oh, they're working on that.
So he's walking up to it.
Exposure therapy.
Mm-hmm. Mm. What kind of bird is he? A songbird?
It just said a bird. Very generic.
So it could have been a duck.
It's like saying that Archer had on a mammal mask.
Oh my goodness, it so is. Because bird is a whole... He had a mammal mask. What kind of mammal?
Him. I am going to point that out.
A horny toad mask, perhaps? I said mammal!
I will acknowledge, like, when it first said bird mask, I didn't, like, take that much offense to it, because I was like, yeah, bird mask. But now I'm like, but wait, you wouldn't say mammal mask. People just say bird mask because they don't realize that birds are as vast and varied in different species and subspecies and genre as mammals.
Also, fuck birds. Also, birds aren't fuzzy and cute and like us as mammals. Though strange, they lay eggs and they have cloacas. So
does a platypus.
Fuck platypuses.
So does a kangaroo.
You know, that's so true. I forgot the kangaroos had... I forgot that there were mammals with cloacas. I'll be complete... Man, that's so strange. Anyway, the point is, we gotta know what kind of mammal mask it is, but if you just say bird, you're like, oh, whatever, it's just a bird.
Yeah. I will say I respect Maas. I am glad that Maas didn't go into a weird amount of detail of describing a costume when that's not what's important in this scene. You know, like, that's not what Selena should be focusing on.
Yeah. She's watching him take off the bird mask.
Revealing a face that had probably been handsome in its youth. Age and too much drinking had pommeled it into saggy cheeks. Once again, someone who's, potentially not good is described as not beautiful.
Not beautiful. Also, God forbid you become old, I guess.
Yeah, God forbid you become old.
Listen. Oh, my goodness.
Young and beautiful people only.
Hold on. It seems like if he's rich... Maybe he is. Like, if he looks like that way from, like, a life of affluence, I think he could be more of a, the beauty standard could be different to be like, hey, this is attractive because it means you're wealthy.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. No point there because Selena has just said that it's ugly, but...
Just an acknowledgement that would have been a potential thing to have as an interesting detail of how beauty standards might be different.
In different time frames,
time frames.
He might be distinguished, you know?
Yeah. Into saggy cheeks, thinning straw blonde hair, and a dull complexion. Capillaries had burst on the tip of his nose, staining it a purplish red that offset his watery gray eyes.
Well,
okay, now we are getting into that excessive description.
We survived the excessive description of the outfit, but now we get an excessive description of the face. And again, if it was a book I wasn't already annoyed at, maybe I would be fine with this kind of description.
Mm-hmm.
But everything about this book is annoying to me, so I'm not very charitable to it.
Yeah, you already used your charitable card.
Oh, I don't even remember what it was about.
Oh, it's your fault for picking something
so little. You used it, didn't you?
Yeah, you used it.
Oh, it was the matches with the
matches.
candle.
Mm-hmm. He stopped close enough to touch her and held out a hand. She dabbed at her eyes one more time, then slipped her handkerchief back into her dress pocket. "Thank you," she whispered, looking at the floor as she took his hand. I am sorry for intruding.
And he gave her that haymaker. Come on, haymaker.
She heard his sudden intake of breath. Dang, I was about to say how once again she's getting away without, having much work for it. And then I was like, but maybe he's actually going to get her when they, hold hands, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then my eyes moved down the page. She heard his sudden intake of breath before she caught the flash of metal. She had him disarmed and on the floor in a heartbeat, but not fast enough to avoid the sting of Davis's dagger slicing into her forearm. So it's kind of both.
So how big is Davis?
I don't know.
And how big is Selena?
I
guess you could have gone for his knees or something to get him on the ground.
Yeah, a small person can get a big person on the ground. That's not hard to believe. Though once again, she managed to avoid most of what he did. She did get hurt a little bit, so thanks, Maas, for not making her so ridiculously.
Well, let's see how much it affects her. She might have been slashed, and she's like, "Oh, it's just a flesh wound,"
Mm.
So let's see.
But in the way that the Black Knight says, it's just a flesh wound. No knees.
Oh, come on! I'll bite your kneecaps off. You've got no legs.
The yards of fabric that made up her dress were cumbersome as she pinned him to the carpet, a thin line of blood welling up and trickling down her bare arm. Okay, so a thin line of blood, so she wasn't really hit. She was barely hit. No one has the keys to this study, Davis hissed, despite his prone position. Brave or foolish? Not even my housekeeper. Selena shifted her hand, going for the points in his neck that would render him unconscious. If she could hide her forearm, then she could still slip out of here unnoticed.
Okay, but also, it seems like he should be fighting her. And I'm trying to throw her off or whatever. Unless he just gives up that easily because she's so great at this. Also, how long is he going to be unconscious for? Because if she's, making him unconscious by, trying to disrupt the blood flow to his brain, it seems like as soon as he gets off him, that blood flow is going to start coming back.
Yeah, I'm not sure if those points have to do with specifically blocking blood flow versus, baroreception and, pressure points.
The point is, I feel like after you let go, those points, whatever you're pushing isn't being pushed anymore.
Yeah.
And she puts, a dumbbell on his neck or something.
He dies.
He died.
You're not that guy. Selena, going for the points, make him unconscious. If she could hide her forearm, she could go out unnoticed. What were you looking for? Davis demanded, his breath reeking of wine as he wriggled against her hold.
And again, someone who's potentially a bad guy, he's an alcoholic, his breath reeks. Which, again, in other books I may not mind, but Maas has consistently made the villain have like all of these undesirable traits about them.
Yeah. We'll see. Maybe they join forces later. I would be really shocked. And I'd say, Maas, you're doing a bit better than book 1.
Just a little bit.
You're doing a bit better.
You're doing a bit better.
She didn't bother to answer, and he surged up, trying to dislodge her. She slammed her weight into him, lifting her hand to deliver the blow. Then he chuckled softly. Don't you want to know what was on the blade? She could have ripped his face off with her fingernails for the silken smile he gave her. In a smooth, swift motion, she snatched up his dagger and sniffed. What is it going to be?
Okay, so now she has one hand on him because she's holding the dagger.
Yeah.
Maybe he's like, she's gonna incapacitate me if I try to struggle. Okay,
He's like, my poison dagger will take her out. I'll just wait. Just bide my time.
Hey, that is a great technique of many creatures, sir.
Yeah. She snatched up his dagger and sniffed, gave it a little lick. She'd never forget that musky smell. Not in 1,000 lifetimes. Gloriella, a mild poison that caused hours of paralysis. I don't know, if it causes hours of paralysis, I wouldn't really classify it as mild.
Well, maybe the way they classify the poisons is like, how likely is it to kill you? They don't care about the suffering of the patient.
They don't care that you might be killed while you're paralyzed.
Yeah.
Apparently, it does not paralyze your
respiratory
muscles. So, is it going to leave your spontaneous, your smooth muscle fibers intact?
Well, no, it's like with Tesla turning off autopilot right before a crash. Technically, the car didn't crash while I was on autopilot.
Is that really what Tesla does?
There's been some drama with it a few years ago.
Oh.
Anyway, technically, it wasn't the poison that killed Selena. It was the sudden stop at the end of her fall.
It was the sudden stop of her heart. Anyway, so once again, poison. So she has a weakness for poison. This is her second time being poisoned.
She has to get that poison buff.
Yeah. It had been used the night she was captured to knock her down, to make her helpless to fight back as she was handed over to the king's men and thrown into the royal dungeons. Davis's smile turned triumphant. Just enough to knock you out until my guards arrive, M-, and bring you to a more private location. Where she'd be tortured, he didn't need to add. Bastard.
But she needed to add it, clearly.
Yeah. Bastard. How much had she been exposed to? The cut was shallow and short.
This character was literally better than Sarah J. Maas because he knows when not to add something.
But she knew the Gloriella was already racing through her, just as it had done on the day after she'd lain beside Sam's broken corpse, smelling the musky. I'm sorry, you cannot use musky in that close together of paragraphs. Sorry, Maas, but musky is one of those words.
Yeah.
The musky smoke. Musky smoke? Musky smoke? Smoke is its own distinct smell. I'm sorry.
I don't think
it's not musk.
Whatever you smell, then it ain't musk. Just say you're attracted to dead bodies and move on with it, Selena.
The musky smoke still clinging to him. She had to go. Now. She shifted her free hand to knock him out, but her fingers felt brittle, disconnected because she's panicking. And despite being short, he was strong. Okay, so he is short. Someone must have trained him. Because in a too fast movement, he grabbed her wrist, twisting her to the ground. She slammed into the carpet so hard the air was knocked from her lungs. Her head spun, and she lost her grip on the dagger. The Gloriella was acting fast. M- too fast. She had to get out.
Seems like you could have gotten him with the Gloriella.
Just saying.
Listen, if I
could have stabbed him full on with the Gloriella.
Yeah.
A bolt of panic went through her, pure and undiluted. Her confounded dress got in the way, but she focused what little control remained in bringing up her legs and kicking M dash, so hard he let go for a moment. Again, you literally did not need any punctuation there. Bitch! He lunged for her again, but she'd already grabbed his poisoned dagger. A heartbeat later, he was clutching his neck as his blood sprayed on her and on her dress and on her hands. There were no hands, I added that. On her dress, on her hands. He collapsed to the side. Sorry, I said on her dress, on her hands, and I was getting into the rhythm.
On her dress, on her hands, he collapsed to the side.
Grasping at his throat as though he could hold it together, keep his life's blood from spewing. Yeah, it would spill. I'll agree there. He was making a familiar gurgling noise, but Selena didn't give him the mercy of ending it as she staggered to her feet. No, she didn't even give him a parting glance as she took the dagger and ripped the skirts off her gown up to her knees. A moment after that, she was at his office window.
Okay, she's going to climb when she's in this state of her fingers all being all disconnected. She was able to grip her skirt fabric enough that she could just rip it off.
I'm sure she used the knife.
Well, it said ripped in it.
She took the dagger and ripped the skirts.
I believe she would have cut the skirt.
The office window, studying the guards and parked carriages below, each thought fuzzier than the last as she climbed onto the ledge. She didn't know how she made it or how long it took, but suddenly she was on the ground and sprinting toward the open front
sounds
gate.
like Maas didn't know either.
Yeah. So much for this poison.
That is such a lame writing technique. I don't know how I did it, but I did all this stuff.
Yeah. The guards or footmen or servants started shouting. She was running, running as fast as she could, losing control of her body with each heartbeat that pumped the Gloriella through her. They were in the wealthy part of the city, near the Royal Theater.
So they weren't on the river then?
No, they were on the river, near the wealthy part of the city on the river. Near the Royal Theater on the river.
On the map is clearly shown to be not right on the river, so they can stuff it.
That's just where the point is. It's a big sprawling complex. They got disease outbreaks every other day. Jon Snow needs to come here. Cholera.
Jon Snow?
The real Jon Snow.
Oh, there's a real one?
The real Jon Snow.
I was like, what is she talking out of Game of Thrones?
No.
Jon Snow, man of cholera.
Jon Snow, potentially sometimes considered the father of epidemiology.
Man, I really thought you were going to say the father of epidemics. It's like, damn, he really got around, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. No, you're thinking of Typhoid Mary. Salmonella typhi. The guards start hollering. They're near the theater, M-, and she scanned the skyline, searching for the glass castle. There! Exclamation. The glowing towers had never seemed more beautiful, more welcoming. She had to get back all the way on foot. Her vision blurring, Selena gritted her teeth and ran.
Yeah, like you can reel yourself into...
We're still not done.
Oh my goodness. Listen, I guess maybe you can use adrenaline to help mitigate the effects of the poison, but it also seems your heart is beating faster, the poison's being spread through your body quicker. But how does it work? Is it like, does it
The Gloriella is actually metabolized in the lungs, so the faster it goes into your lungs and the more you breathe, the faster it's gone.
Oh, okay.
I have no idea.
I guess that was your piece of generosity?
That was my piece of No, it wasn't my piece of generosity. It was me being not serious. Oh. I'm not saying Gloriella is the same as propofol. That's right. Propofol, muscle relaxant. Ever heard of it?
No, obviously.
It's used in anesthesia, induction, and sometimes maintenance. All right, section break. This is our last section. We'll see if we'll feel like it could have been a different chapter, except it couldn't have been because the next chapter is Kale.
Fuck! I have to read that chapter.
Yeah.
Oh, man, you're not ready for this.
She had enough awareness to snatch a cloak off a drunk dozing on a corner and wipe the blood from her face, even though it took several tries to keep her hands steady as she ran. Once the cloak concealed her ruined dress, also the blood's definitely dried. Just saying. She made for the main gates of the castle grounds. Wow, so she made it all the way there. So she definitely didn't get enough poison to actually do anything. Wow, she's so lucky. She made it for the main gates of the castle grounds, where the guards recognized her, though the lights were too dim for them to look closely. The wound had been short and shallow. She could make it. She just had to get inside, get to safety, But she stumbled on the winding road leading up to the castle, and her run turned into a staggering walk before she even got to the castle itself. You said castle twice in one sentence. She couldn't go in the front like this, not unless she wanted everyone to see, not unless she wanted everyone to know who was responsible for Davis's death. She could have killed anyone who died last night, just saying. She is the king's assassin. She swayed with every step as she made for a side entrance, where studded iron doors were left partly open to the night. Really? That seems really insecure. The rats. The barracks. Not the best place to enter, but good enough. Maybe the guards would be discreet.
I doubt it.
One foot in front of the other, just a little further, She didn't remember getting to the barracks doors, only the bite of the metal studs as she pushed them open. The light of the hall burned her eyes, but at least she was inside. The door to the Maas. I don't know if it's ellipsis or ellipsy. Ellipsis is more singular. The door... Ow.
What did you just do? Oh, yo. Cool.
I got a part of my sore. The door to the mess hall was open, and the sound of laughter and clinking mugs floated towards her. Was she numb from the cold, or was the Gloriella taking over?
Yeah, you'll be numb soon enough that my gods can come collect you. My ass. She ran all the way across the city. Yeah.
So he doesn't know what he's doing with his poisons. With his mild poisons.
Oh, yeah. I guess he's used to strong poisons. So.
I guess so. She had to tell someone what antidote to give her. Just tell someone ellipses. Why, it only lasts for a few hours. You said it was fine. One hand braced against the wall, the other holding her cloak tightly around her, she slipped down the mess hall, every breath lasting a lifetime. No one stopped her. No one even looked her way. I was just so used to seeing trollops go through. There was one door down this hall that she had to reach. One room where she'd be safe. She kept her hand on the stone wall, counting the doors she passed. So close. Her cloak caught on the handle of a door as she passed by and ripped away.
Straight up beauty.
Straight up, nothing was holding that cloak on. But she made it to that door. To the door where... Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I'm just imagining like a Bollywood show where the lady is falling and things are falling off of her. It's just something really ridiculous.
Yeah. Why can't... Listen, I think it would have been neat if she passed out in the hallway. So it was oh, what happens to you, Hall? And then we find in the next chapter that Kale found her and took her to his room or something.
TBH, I also would have gone, that was really melodramatic.
Yeah.
Anything that's going to happen is going to be melodramatic, though.
Yeah. It's already...
The cloak ripping away, melodramatic. She made it to the door, to the room where she'd be safe. Her fingers didn't quite feel the grain of the wood as she pushed against the door and swayed on the threshold. Bright light, a blur of wood and stone and paper, and through the haze, a face she knew, gaping at her from behind a desk. A choked noise came out of her throat, and she looked down at herself long enough to see the blood covering her white dress, her arms, her hands. In the blood, she could see Davis and the open gash across his throat.
I thought you was an assassin!
Kale, she moaned, seeking that familiar face again. But he was already running, smashing through his... Oh, sorry, I couldn't even read it. Smashing through his office.
Did it say smashing?
Yeah.
What? I thought you added that!
No, it's smashing through his office. It sounds like something I'd add, though. Glad you can't tell which is which. He bellowed her name.
Selena!
He's like a bull in a china shop.
Selena!
Exactly like that.
Man, I can't take the word bellowed seriously.
So glad you get to read Chaos Chapter.
This is a problem. Inheritance cycle. It's a problem here. What?
The only thing that's allowed to bellow in the inheritance cycle would be a dragon or
A cow?
or a cow. I mean, other than real animals that bellow, or an Urgle.
Yeah, no, Ogles could bellow, and I'd be like, that's hot. But I also really just imagine Ogles to look like Minotaurs. If I'm being completely honest,
Yeah.
that's what they looked like to me as a child.
We're less than a paragraph. Let's go. He bellowed her name as her knees buckled and she fell Bollywood style.
17 camera angles.
Yeah. She saw only the golden brown of his eyes and hell, I thought they were bronze.
No, they won't. It says Olio. They're like, I thought they were blue of some kind.
I don't think they're blue.
Because whole eyes are described as turquoise. I thought his eyes were described as some kind of blue as well.
I don't know, actually.
Who give a shit? Her eyes weren't described as turquoise in the
mood
first book. Her mood ring eyes.
She saw only the golden brown of his eyes and held on long enough to whisper, Gloriella, before everything tilted and went black. Okay, now that's the end. I would say, here, let's have a summary. What do we think? I think it's clear.
What a load of hooey.
What a load of Huey.
Sarah J. Maas, be so serious. Please.
Be so serious right now, Sarah J. Maas.